Hi, my name is Chris, and in this video I want to talk to you about YouTube Premium and why I think you should actually upgrade to that for productivity and somewhat of a mental health benefit. Well, let me start with this. YouTube Premium is a subscription service from YouTube which includes YouTube as it is and YouTube Music, which is already one of the major benefits that I would mention here. That if you don't already have Spotify or Apple Music and you want some access to an advertising-free music library, then YouTube Premium has you covered with YouTube Music. Now, I know there are certain arguments and benefits to all different platforms like Spotify and Apple Music. Like, for example, Apple Music being pretty much the only platform that has more of a lossless compression under these three that I just mentioned. Podcasts are very popular on Apple, but they're also very popular on Spotify. But YouTube Music is kind of lacking in some of those areas, and it is not necessarily the most biggest audio library. However, it is a huge benefit to be bundled into this subscription for just around $12. But then, of course, there's the big one, which is YouTube, and that advertising free. So you don't get any mid-roll ads, you don't have any pre-roll or post-roll, you don't have any advertising on the page whatsoever, at least as it stands right now. Now that alone is a huge benefit to me because I really enjoy watching YouTube as a content creator, but also in free time activities and such. And having that advertising free is something that completely changes the game because you're not interrupted in your viewing experience whatsoever. Now, that alone is a huge benefit, but it actually comes with another benefit packaged into that, and that is that you are actually less likely to spend money on things because, of course, you see less advertising. That, in my opinion, is maybe even more important than the time that you gain by not having to watch through these 30-second advertisings, sometimes even 2 or 3, one after the other, and you just don't get that information. Now, sometimes I actually feel like I'm missing out when I see advertising every so often. I'm like, wow, that's really interesting. But most of the time, I'm actually really happy. I did something similar with, for example, also public TV in Germany, which is advertising financed. And I pretty much don't watch that at all and haven't for many years now. And I just focus on Netflix, Amazon Prime, and similar services, of course, also YouTube. But that just frees up so much brain space, and not having to see these sometimes really dumb advertising takes and all that. Now that, in my opinion, is probably one of the biggest reasons to upgrade to this subscription if you are consuming a lot of YouTube. You're kind of freeing up mental bandwidth to think about other things, you're focused more on the actual content that you want to watch, and of course, you also don't actually waste the time that you need to watch those advertisements, and you can get to the content that much more quickly. Now, this whole advertising free thing is something you can kind of also get by using an ad blocker on your computer. However, that is something that works sometimes and it doesn't other times. And overall, I think on YouTube, it's not really a great experience. And on the phone, it is pretty much impossible to consume YouTube without advertising if you're not a subscriber to this service. In my point of view, the time that I gain and not having to waste mental bandwidth on adverts is actually already worth it. And combining that with the YouTube Music, as I've mentioned before, it makes it a really interesting deal. Now, there is one more feature that I really love about YouTube Premium, and that is that on the iPhone and the mobile app in general, you can actually download videos for playback when you are not online. For example, when you're on a flight, when you're traveling and you don't have constant data available, or you want to reserve data and just download something on Wi-Fi and then you're good to go for your bus ride or something like that, and you just can watch whatever you want on your phone whilst having that already downloaded. With that, it also comes with the benefit that you can actually go into the background. So that with YouTube Premium, you can actually lock the screen and, for example, listen to a podcast that also is uploaded to YouTube in video form. You can just listen to that on your AirPods or whatever headphones you have, or just from the iPhone, playing it out on the speaker. And all that is possible with the YouTube Premium subscription. Now, for a quick moment, I also want to talk about how this affects the creator, because you might be wondering, what is the creator actually getting paid if I have the subscription versus if I am using the advertising supported YouTube network? Now, basically, what happens here is that when you are watching with YouTube Premium, those are counted as premium views, and YouTube has a certain fund every month that they are paying out to all of those YouTube views. So basically, there's a certain amount of money that is getting divided by the amount of YouTube Premium views, and by that they get a value per YouTube Premium view, and that in turn determines how much each creator is paid based on how many YouTube Premium views they have on their channel. Now, on the other hand, with YouTube advertising, it is very similar. If a user sees advertising, that is counted as a view that has advertising on it, because sometimes there's also views that don't have any advertising on it. And then with that, advertisers usually pay a certain amount of money per 1,000 views, and then that gets divided down, and one advertised view has a certain value. Now, the thing with advertising is it kind of depends on the niche that you are advertising to, or rather the niche that your content is in and the advertising it attracts. Based on that, the money that the creator gets paid actually varies greatly, from as low as $1 per 1,000 views in the RPM, or up to $40 or $20. That is also a possibility. Now, personally, my account is pretty much set around $6 or $7 per 1,000 views. And this way, I calculated based on the amount of views that I get versus the amount of premium views that I got, how much worth one specific view has on my channel versus one premium view has on my personal channel. Now, for me, the results were very interesting because in the past, I actually heard or read, I think it was on Twitter sometime, that a YouTube Premium view is actually worth more for YouTube creators instead of having advertising on their channel. And thus, encouraging people to go premium is actually a huge benefit for creators. However, looking at my own numbers, that doesn't necessarily hold true. Now, for my specific channel that I have here on YouTube and the almost 1 million views that I got in 2022, the numbers are as follows. If you are watching my content without the YouTube Premium subscription, then this view on average is worth around 0.0075 US dollars. So basically 0.75 cents. Now, on the other hand, if you have a premium subscription, then under all of the views that I got from premium users on the year 2022, for me, every single view from a premium subscriber is worth around 0.11 cents. Now, as you can see, it's about 7 times more lucrative for me to have someone watch the advertising on my channel instead of being a premium subscriber. Now, this is very different if you are having, for example, around a $1 RPM. In that scenario, based on the calculation, of course, with $1 divided by 1,000, you end up with 0.1 cents. And in that case, the premium view gives you about a 0.1 difference. So not really that big also. So I don't really have a good reason to advertise YouTube Premium other than it actually having a huge benefit for you as the person viewing. Because you're not going to dilute your brain down with advertising that you have to watch before or in the middle of videos. And instead, you can enjoy the content to its fullest with just that, the content. And with all that, of course, there's also YouTube Premium for families, which is around $16. And with that, you can include up to 5 people. And that makes the average cost per YouTube Premium subscription per person actually really, really manageable. And again, YouTube Music is also included in that package. Now, with all that said, I hope this was informative for you, and maybe you also now decide to basically save your brain from advertising and subscribe to the YouTube Premium subscription. I don't really have a vested interest in it because, as you can see, for me, premium views are actually worse, or in terms of money earned, I earn less with YouTube Premium views. But I think it's still very important to give this message out there because, in my opinion, productivity, being able to watch the content that you actually want to watch and enjoying it, and also having access to more features is really a great thing. And now I hope you have an amazing day, make it your life, and I'll see you in the next video. Ciao, ciao!